Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the One Piece podcast that's sailing right alongside the Straw Hats. We are on chapter 23.
The title of this one is The Liar.
And what an introduction! We finally meet the man who will one day command a force of 80 million men, or at least he says he will.
He says it and then 5 seconds later admits it's not true. It's a very efficient character introduction. We learn everything we need to know almost instantly.
It is perfect. This is the kind of first impression you never forget. If you want to make sure you catch every legendary introduction the moment it drops, maybe consider hitting that subscribe bell. It's like having your own personal lookout, telling you when the good stuff is right on the horizon.
A much more reliable lookout than the one we're about to meet, I think.
No question. Okay, let's set the scene. We're back on the little boat they stole from Buggy, a glorified rowboat, really. You can't get to the Grand Line in that thing. It's a miracle they haven't capsized already.
And Nami is laying the law. She's finally had enough of the chaos.
She is reading Luffy and Zoro the riot act, and you can just feel the accumulated frustration. They've been at sea for a bit now, and she's the only one rowing, the only one navigating, the only one thinking. She's yelling at them for being completely unprepared for the Grand Line. She's talking about currents, weather, supplies, and what are they doing?
Luffy is picking his nose with a serene look on his face, and Zoro is half asleep, leaning against the mast. They are completely unbothered. It's a perfect visual representation of the crew's dynamic at this point.
They just say all they need is food and booze, and they'll figure out the rest. And you can see the vein popping on Nami's forehead. This is the moment right here where Nami becomes the crew's mom. She's not just a navigator anymore. She's the one responsible for keeping these two idiots alive.
Or at least its quartermaster. She is the only person on this boat thinking more than 5 minutes into the future. Luffy has the destination, but Nami is the only one who understands the journey requires a map and a plan. It highlights the fundamental difference in their philosophies.
Luffy's philosophy is, if we have the will, we'll get there. Nami's is, willpower doesn't stop you from starving to death. And they both need each other. That's the beauty of it. Luffy's dream would go nowhere without Nami's pragmatism, and Nami's pragmatism would keep her safe, but she'd never have a real adventure without Luffy's reckless drive. This scene right here is the foundation of their entire relationship.
She's not just berating them either. She's taking action. She tells them they need a real ship, real supplies, and a real cook. She's already assembling the checklist for a proper pirate crew. She points them south to the nearest island.
Exactly. She's the operational brain. Without her, these two would drift until they starved or sailed into a storm. She's the one who says, "Okay, dreamers, here's step 1 of making your dream a reality."
And that's where we get our first look at Syrup Village. It's so idyllic, quaint, quiet, with a gentle slope down to the sea. It's the picture of peace.
Which makes the entrance of our new character even jarrier and hilarious. We zoom in on this guy with a long nose standing on a cliff looking out at the sea. Then he just takes off, sprinting into his village.
And he's screaming at the top of his lungs, "The pirates are coming!" It's pure, unadulterated chaos.
The whole town goes into a panic. People are boarding up windows, grabbing weapons, running for cover. The fishmonger's yelling, the baker is grabbing a rolling pin. It's a full-scale emergency, and this guy just keeps running. A huge manic grin on his face. He is loving every second of this.
Until he gets to the center of town, hops up on a crate, and announces with a flourish that it was all a lie.
The villagers are furious. They start chasing him, throwing stuff, brooms, fish, you name it. But he's fast. He's weaving through everyone like it's a game, and he just disappears.
He's laughing to himself up in a tree, so proud that he tricked them again. He calls himself Captain Usopp, and in that moment, you see the core of his character. He's the star of his own movie, and the entire village are his unwilling extras.
This is just such a perfect way to meet him. It's the story of the boy who cried wolf, but with this warmth. The villagers are mad, but it feels like a routine. It feels like they're annoyed, but they also kind of expect it. It's the town's daily drama. It's the Usopp show, and the episode is always the same.
It's a performance. He's creating adventure in a place that has none. You can tell this is a peaceful village where nothing ever happens, so he manufactures the excitement. He's living out the stories he wishes were real. It's a little sad when you analyze it. He's so desperate for a life he doesn't have, but he's having the time of his life doing it.
Totally. Then his little crew shows up. These 3 kids, Peeman, Ninjin, and Tamanagi, the onion, pepper, and carrot pirates. The character designs are just chef's kiss. So simple and so memorable.
The Usopp Pirates, an elite fighting force, armed with a stick, a toy hammer, and a frying pan. They are his entire audience and his whole world.
They look up to him so much. They hang on his every word. He's their hero. But then Tamanagi, the onion-headed kid, runs up and he is genuinely terrified. He says there are real pirates coming.
And their first reaction is telling. They don't believe him. They think he's just playing along with Usopp's game, trying to one-up the captain. It shows how deeply ingrained Usopp's lies are in their daily lives. The concept of a real pirate is less believable than Usopp's daily fiction.
But the kid is insistent. He says he saw their ship and it even had the flag of the buggy pirates on it. The moment Usopp hears that, he completely panics. The sound effect is just his jaw hitting the floor.
His all bravado just shatters like glass. He immediately starts making up excuses about having a rare disease where he'll die if he sets foot on the shore.
Can't get on the islanditis. A classic. It's so pathetic and transparent, but it's his first instinct. When faced with a real threat, lie your way out of it. But the kids see right through it. They call him a liar, and that hits him where it hurts.
It's a crucial distinction. It's one thing to lie for fun, to be the town's storyteller and trickster. It's another to be called a liar when you're trying to be a coward. The first is his identity. The second is an accusation of his greatest fear, that he's not brave at all.
But then the kid says he only saw 3 people on the ship, and you see the gears turn in Usopp's head. He does the math. 3? Suddenly, the odds don't seem so bad. His courage, or at least his pride, comes flooding back.
His pride is stronger than his fear, but only when the odds are 3 against 1. It tells you everything you need to know about him in a single scene. He's not brave, but he desperately wants to be, and he'll seize any opportunity where he thinks he might have the upper hand.
It's so good. He rallies his troops, these 3 little kids, and prepares to defend the village from the terrifying threat of 3 pirates. He gives this big, heroic speech. It's his moment to finally be the hero he always pretends to be.
Meanwhile, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are just docking their little boat, completely oblivious. They have no idea they've been cast as the villains in this local play.
They're just looking around, trying to get their bearings, and then Zoro, of course, spots them immediately. Even from a distance, hiding in the bushes, he sees them. He just casually goes, "We're being watched." It's such a great little character moment for him. He may look lazy, but his senses are always on.
The second they're seen, the 3 kids absolutely book it. They scream and run for their lives, leaving Usopp standing there all alone, mid-heroic pose.
The ultimate betrayal. His entire army routed in an instant. The despair on his face is priceless. But does Usopp run? No. He stands his ground. This is his moment. He's trapped. He has to commit.
He puffs out his chest and declares that he is Captain Usopp, the leader of this village. He's putting on the mask, doubling down on the lie because it's all he has.
He tells them he has a vast army of followers. Nami, ever the pragmatist, asks how many, and he says, without skipping a beat, something like 80 million men.
The sheer audacity of that number. It's not 10, not 100, 80 million. It's a number so large it's meaningless, which is the point. It's a lie so big it almost loops back around to being impressive.
It's beautiful. It's my favorite line in the whole arc, and Nami just deadpans, "You're lying." She doesn't even raise her voice. She just states it as a fact. And what does Usopp do? He immediately goes, "You saw through my brilliant ruse." He just folds instantly.
He can't even commit to the big lie for more than a few seconds. The second he gets any pushback, the entire persona collapses. He has the imagination for the lie, but not the confidence to sustain it.
And Luffy's reaction is the most important part of this whole exchange. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't call him a coward. He just starts dying of laughter. He clutches his stomach, tears in his eyes. He thinks Usopp is the most hilarious person he's ever met.
It's that immediate acceptance. Luffy doesn't care about the lies. He doesn't care about the cowardice. He just sees someone interesting, someone who is entertaining and has a big personality. Luffy operates on a gut level, and his gut tells him this guy is fun.
Yes, that's what makes Luffy the best captain. He sees the core of a person and doesn't get bogged down by the weird stuff on the surface. Zoro would have just ignored him. Nami would have dismissed him as a useless liar. But Luffy sees a kindred spirit in the absurdity. Usopp tries to save face, puffing out his chest and saying everyone calls him Usopp the Proud. It's just so pathetic and so endearing all at once.
He's not proud of his strength or his non-existent army. He's proud of the idea of himself. He's building his own legend, one clumsy lie at a time, hoping that one day the reality will catch up to the story.
It's so good. He rallies his troops, these 3 little kids, and prepares to defend the village from the terrifying threat of 3 pirates. He gives this big, heroic speech. It's his moment to finally be the hero he always pretends to be.
Meanwhile, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are just docking their little boat, completely oblivious. They have no idea they've been cast as the villains in this local play.
They're just looking around, trying to get their bearings, and then Zoro, of course, spots them immediately. Even from a distance, hiding in the bushes, he sees them. He just casually goes, "We're being watched." It's such a great little character moment for him. He may look lazy, but his senses are always on.
The second they're seen, the 3 kids absolutely book it. They scream and run for their lives, leaving Usopp standing there all alone, mid-heroic pose.
The ultimate betrayal, his entire army routed in an instant. The despair on his face is priceless. But does Usopp run? No. He stands his ground. This is his moment. He's trapped. He has to commit.
He puffs out his chest and declares that he is Captain Usopp, the leader of this village. He's putting on the mask, doubling down on the lie because it's all he has.
He tells them he has a vast army of followers. Nami, ever the pragmatist, asks how many, and he says, without skipping a beat, something like 80 million men.
The sheer audacity of that number. It's not 10, not 100, 80 million. It's a number so large, it's meaningless, which is the point. It's a lie so big, it almost loops back around to being impressive.
It's beautiful. It's my favorite line in the whole arc. And Nami just deadpans, "You're lying." She doesn't even raise her voice. She just states it as a fact. And what does Usopp do? He immediately goes, "You saw through my brilliant ruse." He just folds instantly.
He can't even commit to the big lie for more than a few seconds. The second he gets any pushback, the entire persona collapses. He has the imagination for the lie, but not the confidence to sustain it.
And Luffy's reaction is the most important part of this whole exchange. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't call him a coward. He just starts dying of laughter. He clutches his stomach, tears in his eyes. He thinks Usopp is the most hilarious person he's ever met.
It's that immediate acceptance. Luffy doesn't care about the lies. He doesn't care about the cowardice. He just sees someone interesting, someone who is entertaining and has a big personality. Luffy operates on a gut level, and his gut tells him this guy is fun.
Yes, that's what makes Luffy the best captain. He sees the core of a person and doesn't get bogged down by the weird stuff on the surface. Zoro would have just ignored him. Nami would have dismissed him as a useless liar. But Luffy sees a kindred spirit in the absurdity. Usopp tries to save face, puffing out his chest and saying everyone calls him Usopp the Proud. It's just so pathetic and so endearing all at once.
He's not proud of his strength or his non-existent army. He's proud of the idea of himself. He's building his own legend, one clumsy lie at a time, hoping that one day the reality will catch up to the story.
So they all end up at a restaurant, and of course, Luffy and Zoro are just inhaling food, stacks of plates. It's the first real meal they've had in a while. They found a place to eat, and that's all that matters to them.
And Usopp is sitting with them, telling them about the island. For all his faults, he does know the lay of the land. He says if they need a ship, they should check out the big mansion on the hill.
He explains that a sick young girl named Kaya lives there. Her parents died last year, leaving her their entire fortune. She's incredibly wealthy, but she's all alone except for her servants.
And you can see Nami's expression change when she hears that. The focus is right on her face. The combination of mansion, fortune, and sick orphaned girl immediately puts her on high alert. That's a trifecta of trouble.
Her grifter senses are tingling, or maybe her trauma senses. She hears rich people and complicated situation, and she wants out. She immediately says maybe they should just move on to the next village.
This is Nami's pragmatism at work again. She's not here for side quests, especially ones that sound like a trap. She has a goal: get a real ship and get to the Grand Line. A sick, rich orphan is a complication she doesn't need. It smells like drama and potentially danger that has nothing to do with them.
While this is all going on, Usopp makes his big pitch. He puffs out his chest and offers to be their captain. He'll lead them. He sees these 3 real pirates and his mind just goes, this is it, my ticket out, my adventure.
And Luffy, Nami, and Zoro are just completely ignoring him. They don't even say no. They don't even look at him. Luffy just keeps asking for more food. They just keep eating as he despairs in the background. It's so brutal and so funny.
He's trying so hard to be part of an adventure, and these actual adventurers can't even be bothered to acknowledge his application. To them, the captain position isn't open. Luffy is the captain. It's not even a question. Poor guy.
The chapter then cuts to the mansion. We see the girl, Kaya, who looks very frail, lying in bed, and she asks her butler if she can see Usopp.
And the butler's name is Klahadore. This guy, everything about him just screams bad news. The slicked back hair, the round glasses he pushes up his nose with the palm of his hand, the immaculate suit. He's drawn to be unnerving.
He has a very severe look. He's presented as her loyal caretaker, someone her parents trusted. He's been with the family for a while now. But his demeanor is cold, calculating.
So Usopp wasn't just spinning a yarn, he actually knows the girl in the mansion. There's a real connection there. This immediately adds a new layer to his character. He's not just the village liar. He's part of the central story of this island. He has relationships and a history here.
Okay, but think about what this means for Kaya. She's sick, her parents are dead, and she's isolated in this huge house. This butler is her entire world. He controls her food, her medicine, her schedule, who she gets to see. He controls everything.
And he looks so smug about it, too. When she's asking to see Usopp, he has this little smirk on his face. He clearly doesn't approve. This sets up an immediate tension. Klahadore is the gatekeeper.
It's a classic setup. The isolated heiress, the overbearing guardian, and the roguish boy from town who represents a connection to the outside world, to fun, to life. But there's a darker undercurrent to it. The power Klahadore holds over her is immense and unchecked. You immediately question his motives. Is he truly protecting her, or is he isolating her for his own purposes?
Yeah, my alarm bells are going off for this guy, big time. He just gives off this creepy, controlling vibe. It doesn't feel like he's protecting her out of love. It feels like he's keeping her in a cage. And why does he hate Usopp so much? Because Usopp is a liar, or because Usopp is an outside influence he can't control?
Before we get too deep into that, there was a nice little moment of levity from the author's comment this week. He talks about his boombox.
Oh yeah, I love these little glimpses into his life. He said the boombox he bought with money from his first high school job has been with him for 6 years. He's been using it all through his assistant days and into his own serialization.
And now the CDs have started skipping, but he's telling it to hang in there, personifying it like it's a member of his crew.
That's just so relatable. Every creative person has that one piece of gear, that pen, that computer, that instrument that's been with them forever. It's seen you through the tough times. It feels like a part of you. It's cool to know he has that same attachment to his tools. It's very One Piece in a way.
It speaks to a certain loyalty, which is a theme that runs through this entire story. Loyalty to people, and even to things that have served you well, like the going merry will later on. It's a small comment, but it feels very in character for the author of this story.
For sure, but man, I can't stop thinking about Klahadore. I have a really bad feeling about him. The way he adjusts his glasses is going to be his villain trademark. I'm calling it now.
As you should. The pieces are on the board now. The Straw Hats need a ship. The richest person on the island, Kaya, lives in a mansion and is probably the only one who could provide one. Their only connection to her is the town liar, Usopp, who is directly opposed by her very sinister-looking butler.
It's a perfect storm. There is no way Luffy, a guy who punches first and asks questions never, is going to be able to navigate this situation with any kind of subtlety. He's going to run headfirst into this domestic drama and cause a massive incident.
That seems like a safe bet. His solution to a creepy, controlling butler is probably not going to be a polite conversation.
You know, if you've got a theory about what this butler is really up to, drop it in the comments. We're all trying to piece this puzzle together, and I want to hear what you're thinking. Let's get into predictions for Chapter 24.
I'll go first this time. My first prediction is about the connection between Usopp and Kaya. I think we're going to see him visit her, probably by sneaking past Klahadore, and we'll learn that the reason she wants to see him is because he tells her stories.
Oh, that's good. That makes so much sense. He can't live a real adventure, so he makes them up. And she can't leave her room, so his stories are her only escape, her only window to the world. It reframes his lying completely.
Exactly. To the village, he's a nuisance. To her, he's a lifeline. He's not just a liar, he's a storyteller, and that's his real value to her. It makes their bond much deeper than just a boy with a crush on the rich girl.
I love that. Okay, my first one, I think Klahadore is actively trying to make Kaya sicker, or at least keep her sick. The whole she's ill thing feels suspicious, especially with her parents dying recently. I predict we'll see a scene where he brings her medicine that is clearly not meant to help her. He's isolating her and weakening her for a reason, probably to get control of her fortune.
That's dark, and it fits his design perfectly. He's a predator isolating his prey. My second prediction, we're going to get a hint about Usopp's parentage. He tells all these grand, unbelievable stories about pirates and adventure. It feels personal. I think we'll learn that his father is a pirate out on the Grand Line, and that's why he's so obsessed. His lies are his way of feeling connected to a father he's never known, or trying to live up to a legacy he imagines for him.
Bro, that would recontextualize his entire character. He's not just lying for attention, he's lying to fill a hole in his life. That's heavy. Okay, my second prediction, the confrontation isn't going to come from inside the mansion, but from outside. I think some of Buggy's actual crew will show up on the island, looking for their ship and for Luffy. We saw them regrouping at the end of the Orangetown arc. They have to be looking for him.
Following the trail from Orangetown. It makes sense.
Exactly. So Usopp, who just cried pirates are coming as a joke, is about to have his bluff called in the most real way possible. Real, angry pirates are going to show up, and he'll be forced to actually try and be the brave captain he pretends to be, to protect the village for real this time.
And that will be the moment that forces him to team up with Luffy properly. He'll get in over his head, and the only people who can help him are the very pirates he was trying to scare off in the first place.
You know it. He's gonna get way over his head, Luffy's gonna see someone in trouble and jump in without a second thought, and a beautiful friendship will be born from absolute chaos. It's the Straw Hat way. Alright, that's all the time we have for this chapter. It was a super introduction.
It certainly set the stage for a compelling new conflict.
Join us next time as we dive into Chapter 24. Will Usopp's lies save him or doom him? Is Klahadore the worst butler ever? We'll find out together. Until then, keep your sails high and your dreams even higher.
Farewell.